Great. Thank you very much. We're going to move to item 15.4, which is the board will receive a presentation and consider options for housing both the Mandarin Immersion program and Spanish dual immersion programs for 22-23. Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, President Jones. There is a wealth of information included in the agenda item, and for the sake of time and efficiency, I'm going to turn the agenda item to Assistant Superintendent Salinas and Dr. Rocha as well, and they will be presenting information for the board regarding this item. And as a note, this item tonight is here for discussion, information, and presentation.
Right, just so that's clear to the public, the board will not be taking a vote on this item at tonight's meeting. Please.
Thank you, President Jones, Superintendent, our board, and our community here this evening. Yes, we come forward with this informational discussion item. This is a very important topic for our community, and it really reflects the commitment that our board and our district has to maintaining immersion programs and really the spirit of biliteracy, biculturalism within Fremont Unified. This evening, Dr. Rocha, who is to my right, and I will be presenting an update for the board for their consideration and also direction. Just a bit of background for folks who are tuning in and really kind of summarizing where we're at. We want to share that we have a long history of providing students and families the ability to participate in an alternative educational program in our district. Students are able to learn 2 languages through an immersion model. Spanish Dual Immersion, or SDI, and Mandarin Immersion Program, or MIP, are our programs. This is also using the 90-10 model, and we have students who are at Hopkins Junior High for the growth of the program through 7th and 8th grade. At the March 24, 2021 meeting, the board directed staff to reconvene the MIP SDI task force to bring forward a recommendation that would provide a long-term solution that allows for the expansion and the growth of the programs. At that meeting, the board also approved a short-term solution for the MIP program to accommodate the expanded strand at Blake Howe Elementary. So I want to start yes, there we are. So this evening, I want to first give a huge thank you to folks who have dedicated over the years, and certainly this past year, a lot of time and commitment to this work. Here we have our task force members. I won't read them all, but I will say that we were pretty well represented. We had educators from both programs, parent representatives. We had members of our facilities advisory committee, certainly principals, our FUTA representative, and of course also our district staff. And we had 2 board trustees who also served on it. Thank you. Thank you. So just the time to say thank you publicly to this committee membership, that many who have served for a couple of years already on this committee. So a big thank you to them. As part of the background and purpose, again, as I said earlier, in March of 2021, staff was to reconvene the MIP SDI task force to bring forward a recommendation and options that would provide a long-term solution. The wonderful thing about Fremont is that our programs are strong, but also there's also a need for growth and expansion. And so to speak to that and to the commitment of our board and our community, we needed to ensure that we had facilities that would meet the needs of our students. So the purpose of this was to gather, analyze, and review and consider information and data to provide recommendations to you all as a board, and to also consider the long-term solutions for both the MIP and the SDI program.
So now I'm going to talk about the process that the task force went through to come to tonight forward with some recommendations. So it was a lot of thoughtful planning, dedication around looking at what would be the best options and looking at all angles. There was a lot of brainstorming that took place, reviewing of documents, analyzing school maps, facilities, capacity reports, enrollment data, all of these things, demographer projections for our upcoming years, and then taking that information and looking at it and getting input from our community, as we know this is a very important topic for us, and that feedback going back and forth, bringing that information back to the task force, and then that would be shared out with all of our members. All of these items help shape and guide the process to tonight be able to provide you with recommendations from our task force. So in order to make sure that our community was well aware and informed of what the process and all of the information that was looked at, we had several things established. One was our monthly meetings were live streamed so that anybody could watch them as they took place. In addition to that, they were also archived on our YouTube channel. So if someone was unable to tune in at our meeting time, as our meeting time was 6 p.m., and say for whatever reason there might have been some type of conflict, they would be able to review those videos and watch that at any point. We also had a website dedicated specifically to the task force that had membership, meetings, agendas, all of those items as well, and included the link to those archived meetings. We did a lot of notifications sent via phone, email, school newsletters that our principals sent to ensure that our community was aware of everything that was taking place. In addition, we did send out a survey, and this was sent to all of the school community, including our English-only families, to again get that input and feedback on things that we were considering. And lastly, our school principals did host some community meetings with their school community to again discuss and have conversations around the implications of unification if that was to transpire.
So I want to speak a little bit about what, as we were looking through all of the data, and if you remember that list of all of our membership, the membership, we always reiterate it. You are representing many others that are not in the room or on Zoom with us tonight. And so what we asked, and they actually also pushed us to really start to understand a little bit more, is that there needed to be some protected time to really have time with their community members. So if it was the school site council or their PTAs or just the whole school community, the neighbors, I mean, you name it. So what we ended up doing was to say, hey, let's have another point of information, and we can do a community-wide survey that we could send out as just another way to give more information, knowing that they all had their own groups and their own meetings, and so it was just another source of information. So as we did that work, we looked at the responses that came in. We had 223 responses that came from the Mandarin Immersion program, 163 from the Spanish dual immersion. And then we had, in terms of our educators, we had almost 100%, but we had 100% of our Mandarin Immersion program educators and 86% of them. And the survey responses were all very public. They were posted on the webpage. Our principals and our task force members made a big push to ensure that that information was also transparent. And so those results were an additional point of information for us to really talk about at the task force meeting and really kind of move from there. So after the results of the survey, our task force reviewed the responses, and then we said, okay, so from this point until our next meeting, we ask for you to go back out and see what questions are out there. So Dr. Rocha and I would receive questions via our our task force members. We would send out the information. We would have community members send us questions. And so we were very public about ensuring that the responses were out to all. And it was a way to really clarify for folks who had questions, everything from, what will the impact be to me, to how can I join and tell me more about this. So it was really a clear process, and I think it was a way to really engage with a lot of folks. Members held, as I said, school and program-wide meetings to ensure all school community was engaged, even those who did not take the survey. So unfortunately, as you can see, we did not have the full, not everyone took the survey, and we understand it's a busy time for many folks. So we said, let's do it again in the sense of talk to folks about the results of the survey, talk to folks as to what's happening. And at those community-wide meetings, our members of the task force were able to get more information that they brought back to the task force committee. So again, very powerful and really a way to reflect what was being said and conveyed out into the community. Those updates were all shared at the January 25th meeting, and they used all of that information to inform their decision-making, and they helped the task force come to what we're recommending to you this evening. Excuse me. In terms of, I want to make a note about enrollment. One of the questions that was, as our task force members were going back to the community and our principals were hearing and we were getting emails, was talk to us a little bit more about what that would mean for enrollment. So if I'm a student in the SDI, if my child is a student in the SDI program now, do they have to reapply if it's unified? What would that be the impact? And so we were very clear. Number one, there would be no reapplying. If you're already in the program, you're in the program. Number two, if we were to move forward with unification to a site, there would be no displacement of neighborhood students. So we wanted to ensure, and that was why our principals and our task force members had community-wide meetings. I think in the past, we were very focused on just engaging with the participants in the immersion programs. We opened it up even more because we wanted to make sure that even students who are not in the immersion programs were aware as to what was happening. So those folks were also included. And what we also shared with all of them is that we would have some additional enrollment guidelines where we would have, depending on the direction and certainly the vote of the board, we would continue with priority for siblings. That was very important that we heard from folks, so that priority would continue. And then there would be a lottery for the remaining seats. So we wanted to ensure that that was out there as a point of information for the parents that were emailing and asking that clarifying question as well.
Okay. So as Mrs. Salinas has mentioned, at our January 25th meeting, after all points of consideration and careful, thoughtful discussion, the task force did come and has some recommendations that I will bring forth to all of you. And one thing that was noted was that the need to unify both the Spanish and the Mandarin immersion program to one site. So that was one thing that came out of our meeting on the 25th. And so we bring forward to you the two options that the task force, that I will be sharing on behalf of the task force. So for option A, what the recommendation would be that Mandarin immersion would unify to Bringhurst Elementary School. What that would mean would be that the students currently at Blakeow and Azevedo who are in the Mandarin immersion program would now unify to one site, and that would be Bringhurst. This option would allow for the growth of our program, even in the event if full-day kinder does come to fruition. And this would not displace any neighborhood students that are in that attendance area. For the SDI program, the recommendation would be that the Spanish dual immersion unify at Blakeow, meaning that Grimmer and Vallejo Mills students who are in the SDI program would now come over to Blakeow as one unified site. This option, again, would allow for growth of the program, and it would not displace any neighborhood students. The second option that the task force is bringing forth as your consideration is option B, and that is where Mandarin immersion would then unify to Blakeow Elementary. So again, just the Azevedo students would come over to Blakeow. In this particular scenario, if full-day kinder does come to fruition, there would be some limitations to that option, meaning that we would be able to maintain the current strands, but it would prevent growth in the future. And for the SDI program, Spanish dual immersion, the other option is to unify at Grimmer Elementary. And just like with the option at Blakeow for Mandarin immersion, it would only be able to accommodate the current strands, but it would have limitations to growth in the future if full-day kinder does come to fruition. So those are our options, and again, not displacing any neighborhood students with these with this recommendation.
So, and I want to make another point of clarification. What we heard from many of the educators was the need for unification in terms of how it would facilitate the optimizing the program. And so we may hear from some of them this evening. I know we all received also correspondence from a lot of folks over the last few weeks, but that was one of the things that we heard to the task force. The other point I want to make is that the task force also wanted to ensure that we presented the board with options. And so that's why we're coming forward with not just one recommendation, but with some options so that you are fully aware as to what's suggested. So a little bit about our next step. So tonight, as was said by President Jones, you're not taking a vote tonight or action, but really it's a time to hear from the community. I thank our school board members who were engaged and were aware of the process as we were working through this, but I know for many of you, this may be, you also need the time to also take in the information. So that's why tonight is an information discussion. And then with your direction, we will return on February 23rd, and then we will have a vote for action. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So before we move to public comment about this item, I want to remind people, if you want to speak about this item, now is the time to raise your hand. Now is the time to make sure your speaker cards are in. We have received a lot of emails and written public comment about this item, and there's a lot of discussion going on in the community, and I would like to remind folks who are here tonight to please direct your comments to the board and to please keep our comments civil. We have a lot of students in the room, and I know tensions and emotions are high about this issue, and I'm going to ask that everybody keep in mind who is listening. So, Ms. Sandoval, how many total speakers do we have?
Sorry, I'm just waiting on the hands that are being raised at this time. Okay, it looks like we stand at 40.
Okay, with 40 speakers, that means we have 1 minute per public speaker.
Okay.
So, Ms. Sandoval, please call the speakers.
President Jones, could I just ask a clarifying comment?
Sure.
Just to be clear, option A allows both programs to continue to grow and have no enrollment caps, even if we have kindergarten, full-day kindergarten. Option B does not allow that. Is that the biggest difference?
That's the biggest
Thank you.
difference, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, any other clarifying questions before we move on to public comment? Okay, Ms. Sandoval, please call the speakers.
I do have a couple of students that are here. I usually start with the remote,
Yes,
but I'm going to start with the students
call,
that are
if you
here.
can identify students, please call them first.
If I can have Leah Stoll and parent Matthew Stoll come up, as well as Venice Rouge, Liliana Anaya, Siaha Anaya, Divya Gashner, Hiba Kathawala. Okay, if I can have the first one come up to the podium, and you can bring down the microphone. You don't have to touch it. There you go. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I am Leah in 3rd grade from Grimmel Elementary. I support the Spanish Immersion Unification because teachers can collaborate to make the students' educations better. Also, students can make more friends, and plus, students can learn more from each other and inspire each other. Although I will miss my friends, I support Spanish Immersion Unification. So this is how we can make the school a better place, and this is why I believe in Spanish Immersion Unification.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Venice, and I'm in 3rd grade and 9 years old. And I believe that we should be unified. For example, I have 2 markers, and they're blue and purple. And my friend also has 2 markers, and they are yellow and green. And my other friend has 2 more markers, which are red and orange. If we only use the colors that we have in our hands, this is what we will be able to use. If we combine our markers, we will be able to use the whole rainbow.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Liliana, and I'm 11 years old in 6th grade at Grimmer Elementary. I'm also the president of my Grimmer Student Council. I believe that not only will the unification of the three schools improve collaboration with teachers and students, it will give the ability for teachers and students to learn from each other. We would also meet new kids and make new friends because we have been together with the same kids since kindergarten. Please vote for unification of the Spanish Immersion program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sienna Anaya. I'm in 4th grade, and I urge the district to unify the Spanish immersion schools at Blakehow or Grimmer. I'm part of the student council in my school, Grimmer, and I support the unification of the Spanish immersion schools. We would like for all the teachers to work together. Please vote for unification of the Spanish immersion program. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Any other student?
Thank you. I want to thank our students for being here. It's really important that we hear from you, and I'm glad you came tonight. Thank you.
Do I? Is there a Venice Roche and a Divya Ishwar? That was it? Okay. Oh, okay. Awesome. What about Hiba Kathawala? Hiba Kathawala? No? Okay. All right. I'll move on to our remote callers. Feng Shun Jiang. Go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. You have 1 minute.
Good evening, board members and trustees. My name is Feng Shun Jiang. I'm a mother of 3. 2 are in the MIP program at Asvida. Tonight, I voice my support for unification of the MIP program to Lila Brinkhurst. 2 years ago, we were living in Munich, Germany. Back then, I sent an email to Diane Jones requesting to add more kindergarten classes at MIP. I received a positive reply from her saying, looking at the possibilities. 2.5 years later, it became a reality. Thank you, board trustees, for making this happen. We moved to Fremont because of the MIP program. I will follow the program wherever it goes, regardless of location. We have collected over 126 verified signatures on our petition for unification, so I know many families feel the same. Location should not be the program's first priority. Our priority is to unify the program, find a new home for us that is big enough and allow us to grow. Tonight, I'm asking trustees, please vote to unify MIP to Brinkhurst. We want one MIP. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin Lim.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, I'm a parent of 2 at Acevedo. I am in support of unification, specifically at Brinkhurst. The focus should continue to be on what's best for the students and their quality of education. In the big picture, this is best for the program and the children in all of Fremont. Teacher-parent communication, streamlined financial planning of resources, and general logistics is smoother and superior at a single site versus being fractured across multiple sites that essentially operate independently. This decision needs to also be mindful of those currently on the wait list and in the future if MIP does not unify at Brinkhurst, because they truly do not have an option, while those currently in the program do have an option to continue. Thank you, and please unite us to be one MIP.
Thank you.
June 10. June 10. Go ahead. Brian Lee.
Hello, can I speak?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Brian Lee. I'm an MIP parent, a CIPCF trustee, and a task force member. I support keeping MIP together at one site, whether at Blakeout or Brinkhurst. The staff has cited many reasons why the program should be unified. Let me add one more. A key to MIP success has been our community of dedicated parents. This community can only be built through personal connections that people have when they come together face to face at the same campus, day in and day out, to tackle common challenges. If you split MIP into different campuses, I'm afraid you'll be taking away what makes us special, what makes us strong. Please keep MIP together. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
June Chen.
Hi. Good evening. It appears to me that the board has failed to represent the community of Fremont as a whole, publicly and openly disregarded the parental input and willing to sacrifice our children's well-being over other goals when those are the people that they're supposed to fully serve. The first line of your mission is to provide equitable opportunities for all the children, and the unification of MIP, moving it out of SVEDA. More importantly, the broader attitude presented by a particular board member that demonstrates a take it or leave it lacks empathy towards the general population and directly contradicts this mission. 55% of the parents do not want MIP to unify, and that is a very simple statistic that the board is choosing to ignore. How do you serve a wider audience when you are already acting against 55% of the parents and families? How do you enhance learning when you are taking away diversity? And how do you minimize disruption when disruption is the very thing you're trying to do by moving a whole school of children to another school? For the well-being of the children, I'm asking the board to reject all unification proposals and let the program continue to thrive and expand at multiple locations as it has always been. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chung Wu. Chung Wu. Go ahead. M. Guzman. M. Guzman.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Melissa Guzman. I'm a second grade SDI teacher at Blakeo. I'm here to voice support to have Spanish dual immersion housed at Blakeo and Mandarin immersion at Lila. This option provides both programs with opportunities for growth. The other option would not allow either program to grow beyond its current size. Also, option A would allow for an easy transition if full-day kindergarten is promoted in the near future, as there would be more space and classrooms available at those schools. Keeping SDI at Blakeo would be of great benefit to students because there is a Spanish bilingual principal and a Spanish bilingual reading intervention specialist already on campus. Housing the Spanish dual immersion at Blakeo is the best option. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony Shagre.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Thanks, and thank you, board, for hearing us out. It's been great to hear the comments from everybody. We're new to the Mandarin Immersion program. We have a first grader who's at Blakeo, and we have a pre-K 5-year-old son who will likely be joining the program soon. We love Blakeo. We think it's a great community, but looking at the options that have been presented at the board, I think everybody can, there's a strong sense from the community that unification has multiple advantages. It was great hearing from those students, clearly being able to build relationships from the teachers, being able to utilize resources and combine those where, right now, I think it's fragmented and kind of hard. I'm, myself and my family are for the unification and for, I think the biggest point of contention here is allowing room for growth. Obviously, the people that are voting for keeping it at Acevedo, I think, they're comfortable where they are. I would understand not wanting to kind of shift things around, but it doesn't allow for growth. And I think the survey results that were being quoted, those were earlier on, and a lot of the parents that we talked to. Sorry.
My Doan.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Actually, I'm just using a different link. My name is Ethan Wang. Good evening, board trustee. Thank you for allowing me this time to talk. We're a family of 4 resides in Acevedo School District. I have a first grader and incoming K. While we support the district to unify, MIP program to allow expansion at Lila. I just like to add a couple comments. Number one is I'd like to ask district to consider, provide, or publish a concrete plan for how funding will be allocated to MIP program in the coming years, especially for potential future funding cuts. Secondly, maybe the district can also consider the option to provide school buses for families that are both working parents. Last but not least, as a resident in Fremont, we'd like to see a plan of resource dedicated to teacher training to allow MIP teachers expand and growth, as well as provide a standardized education.
Thank you.
Janelle Ong. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, good evening. I have a kindergartner in MIP at Blakehouse, and my younger child will enter kindergarten this fall. I support unification of MIP at Bringhurst, where the program can grow without capacity limitation. First of all, on the MIP application that I have just submitted, parents sign that we understand we are applying to a language program and not a specific school site. MIP never promises a specific school site. MIP is a FUSD program, not an Azaveda program. Along that line, I support removing homeschool priority for MIP. It's such policy that has made some parents think MIP belongs at Azaveda because they have moved into the area for MIP and are not willing to make the sacrifice needed for the greater good of MIP, a unified MIP at a different location. Board of Trustees, please help the program unite as one MIP. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ivy Yang.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to speak up. I am a Fremont resident with a preschooler who's hoping to join MIP. While I support the unification efforts, I wanted to say specifically I oppose the proposal of MIP unification at Layla Bringhurst. This recommendation was most definitely impacting the future MIP enrollment given its decentralized location. If MIP is pushed to South Fremont, it's almost impossible to serve the kids' parents who are interested in this state program in North Fremont. This makes MIP program inequitable to SDI, who will be in Blakehouse, right? Which is further creating disparity in education opportunities among the communities and potentially harm the reputation of FUSD. While I understand the reasons of unification and expansion considerations, it may be worth rethinking whether Bringhurst should be considered as a valid option for immersion programs. And I advocate for MIP unification at Blakehouse for the fairness of these two programs. Thank you.
Perry Lai.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, yes.
My name is Perry Line. I don't receive some of the benefits of unification, but I'm here to advocate for my daughter. We all moved into 28 Palms in 2017 when she was 5 months old and have been waiting on pins and needles ever since. In review of the task force's recommendations, I see that there is no longer priority enrollment for Azaveda or Blakehouse home students to help assuage the complete upending of plans and dreams, sometimes years in the making. And the board's vote on this issue will take place just 2 weeks before this year's lottery. Is that the right thing to do? To pull out the rug so forcefully? I'd also like to call out the conflict in the task force's decision in leaving legacy enrollment for siblings unquestioned, while literally leaving behind my daughter and the other kids whose families have built their homes and lives in the local communities. I thank MIP parents for their part in making the program what it is.
Thank you.
Laura Acero.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Laura Acero. I'm the parent of 2 students at the Spanish Immersion program, Spanish Dual Immersion. We have been part of the program for 8 years, and I am a stronger believer of unification, and for that matter, at the Blackout side, because it would allow the program to grow. We have seen how year after year after year, the resources are divided between the 3 schools, and enrollment is actually dwindling, and the program as is split into 3 schools is not sustainable anymore. We need to be united, and we need to be united in a site where it will allow us to grow the program and make it stronger. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to start with the in-person. Arcelis Gale.
And Ms. Sandoval, could you read probably at least 5 at a time so we can have people lined up and ready to speak?
Sure. Arcelis Gale, followed by Julie Fan, Kelly Lynn, Jenny Louie, Hayes Shire.
Okay, so if your name has been called, go ahead and line up. You don't have to speak in the order that you were called, just as long as you're in that group, go ahead and line up.
Go ahead.
Good evening. Buenas noches. My name is Aracelis Gil, and I oppose the move of the MIP program to Lila Binghurst. As a parent with a child that I hope to be able to enroll in the MIP program next year, I worry about the so-called unification plan in order to expand. When one thinks of expansion, you think of a web. So it gives a chance to those on the fringes to be touched. What this is doing is going to make it close up the program, making it harder for the real hardworking families to give their children a chance at this program. Opening the program to more locations will enable children and families to stay in the schools they love and the communities they love, while also giving families a real opportunity to join the program. The bottom line is unification only benefits the district, not the families.
Hi, my name is Kelly Lynn, and I have a daughter who is attending Blackout MIP in a kindergarten year. I have a second one that's planning on going next year. I'm here standing in front of you to show my support for the unification of MIP at Bringhurst. My daughter was only able to attend this year due to the expansion into Blackout since we were on the wait list this year. So I am all for the growth of this program and moving forward with expanding at Bringhurst. Unification will allow for stronger teacher collaboration and consolidated resources for kids. Parents will be able to form stronger communities to help the kids instead of the current desperate groups chats that we currently have between classrooms and schools. By unifying the program, kids will also have the opportunity to make more friends, and the younger kids will have the opportunity to seek guidance from older kids. Currently at Blackout, my daughter goes to the PM kindergarten class, and unfortunately, there just isn't enough classrooms for them. She has to sit outside for 20 minutes before she can attend class while she waits for the AM class to get out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening. Hi everyone, I'm Julie Fan. I'm a parent of 2 MIP students. I have a 5th grader and a 3rd grader at Azaveda. Tonight I am here speaking on behalf of only myself, and I'm supporting the staff's long-term plan proposal for MIP. I believe the proposal in unifying will allow ease of sharing knowledge and resources for the teacher. It will allow efficiency in gathering and building a community support among parents, and it will provide the community some continuity of the Immersion program for our students. The task force was commissioned by the district to propose a long-term plan. And we're going on year 3 now of discussing expansion and now unification. I urge the board to commit to approving this plan so that we can begin the next school year feeling situated and secure as one MIP. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Dear Board of Trustees, I have 3 children in the program with my youngest being in kinder. I know this is not an easy decision, but I respectfully ask that the MIP program be unified at Bringhurst. I understand how frustrated local Azaveda parents are due to the potential move and the added commute time, but I want to point out that I currently make that drive from Warm Springs to Azaveda 3 round trips a day, 5 days a week. I committed to the program over 2 years ago, not knowing that it might change locations. I did it because I thought the program was worth the additional 15-minute drive. My original ask was for the program to be unified with no school preference. I wholeheartedly believe we are stronger together than apart. Now knowing that Blacow cannot house all of MIP with future growth, I strongly support unification at Bringhurst with no home school priority. The original FUSD survey was very confusing for most parents and did not ask for verification of identity. It is not representative of the MIP population. Please vote for unification at Bringhurst. We want one MIP.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening, trustees. Thank you for taking this item. My name is Hayes Cher, and my two children are in MIP kindergarten and first grade at Blacow Elementary. I'm also representing the opinions of 126 other parents who have signed a petition in favor of unification starting in late January. We're here to express our support for Mandarin immersion to unify to a single site as a first priority. Majority numbers can be argued, however, the popularity of unification is completely irrelevant to your decision. As public officials, you're responsible to do what's right and not what is convenient. Strong leaders do what's best for the greater good, even at the cost of some immediate controversy. Unification is the clear choice that benefits more people and provides for the program's long-term growth. The task force, district staff, MIP teachers, and a majority of MIP parents all agree. Please follow the task force recommendation and vote for one MIP.
Thank you.
Mai Doan, Zan Yap, Wesley Joe, Tara, Ina Chu,
Good evening, Board of Trustees. Thank you for having me tonight. Fremont is huge. By consolidating and moving the MIP to South Fremont would leave many families and students not being able to attend due to a difficult commute. Some might say that the family can weigh the hassles and benefits and make a choice to attend or not. But this argument is incorrect. Here's why. When a choice is harsh, then it is a false choice. It's not a real choice. Providing a convenient way for kids to learn about cultural heritage is their right, and not something to be considered as a special favor or to be considered as undeserved. Of course, the parents applaud the school's modern thinking in equity and social justice. Diversity and equity are the values we hold dear in America in the 21st century. We couldn't be a dynamic and culturally rich nation today without the rest of the world to contribute the diverse languages. So I strongly urge to keep the MIP curriculum as is. No unification. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mai Duan. I am an active advocate for the Mandarin Immersion program with two children who attended the program at Azaveda. My children were very fortunate to have access to this amazing program. Allowing a child to learn a language, culture, and fluency is an amazing opportunity and gift for children as they become well-rounded global citizens for the future. Thank you for the School Board of Trustees and district staff for expanding the program to more children. However, the program expansion over the years has encountered scaling challenges. Having an immersion program at one elementary school site will eliminate many of these challenges, enabling a stronger, sustainable program for the children, better cross-collaboration, curriculum development, and career growth for teachers, and economies of scale for the district, ultimately saving the district money as we continue to see budget deficits impacting children's programs. I urge the Board of Trustees to make a swift decision. A decision delay impacts the long-term health and growth of the program, negatively impacts the Blacow cohort, and continues to drive a wedge in our parent community. A decision must be made quickly so that we can heal, plan, and move. Please help at one MIP.
Thank you.
Thank you, trustees. My name is Wesley Joe. I'm a parent of two third and fifth graders who commute from the north edge of Fremont. I support unification of MIP because the community is stronger together than split apart. We are blessed to have the best teachers at MIP. Our teachers tell us that being unified at one site will help them collaborate, share resources, and produce better outcomes for our students. I know such great teachers are hard to find. Unification at one site will help attract other talented teachers who will want to work together with our great teachers. Unification to a single site will improve the consistency of the curriculum so that with classes combined at junior high, students will be prepared equally. Our return to remote learning has shown us that students learn best when they are together with their teachers. In the same way, teachers tell us that they collaborate better when they are together with their colleagues. Unification helps pull resources together rather than dilute them. Let's not spread ourselves thin. Please approve unification of MIP. It is amazing that we're raising a generation of bilingual students. Thank you for this MIP program. It is a program worth fighting for. It is a program worth unifying. We are better together, united as one MIP. Thank you, trustees.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tara, a parent of a first grader at the Blake Elementary School. I'm here to support the unification of MIP to a single site Bringhurst. We're grateful for attending this program. We're very thankful for the decision made last year to expand 2 more classes at Blake for this program. Our kid finally received the opportunity to join MIP. However, we feel isolated from the rest of the MIP community. We do not have the same resources that they have built over years at Azaveda. Our teachers have no easy sharing experience with their peers, which is crucial in the education process. It's wonderful when we hear Fremont Board is considering the unification for the program. We feel so thankful that we are not left behind. The Board of Trust to understand our needs and our difficulties. Please support the unification of MIP. Our kids want to grow up together. We want to be one MIP family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Fremont Board of Trustees. I'm Zen, a parent of a kindergartner at Blackhall Elementary School. I'm here today to pledge my support for the unification of MIP to a single site with a preference of Lila Bringhurst. I'm very grateful that the Board of Trustees made the decision to expand the program so more families, including myself, can enjoy this amazing program. As a beneficiary of the good decisions that the Board has made, I essentially urge that you continue to use your judgment to make good decisions that will benefit the greater good. That includes not just the current students, but prospective students for many, many years to come. Change is always hard, but looking at a bigger picture beyond just commute issues, unifying MIP makes sense and on so many fronts, financial fronts, teachers, students, and even a community standpoint. It's going to be a long evening, but I respectfully request that the board support the task force recommendation to unify MIP so we can set it up for success for the long haul. One MIP.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ina, and I have a child at first grade at Blackhall. I'm here to express my support for the MIP to unify to Bringhurst. There are just like 2 simple reasons here. One is to optimize the resource allocation. For example, instead of building like a 2 or 3 separate library, we can build a big library with a lot of Chinese books. And the second is diversify the student body. Just like a kid, some kids speak earlier, the kids now, they just play certain kids. If we want to grow, we want the kids play with more different kids. I think we should unify. So to grow MIP, please unify MIP in Bringhurst. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ina Chu, Eileen, Dennis Shin, Kate Wu, Sulan Wang, Felix Lechner.
Hi, my name is Eileen. My son will start school next year. I oppose to move MIP to Bringhurst. We have planned to send my child to the MIP program in Alaveda. If MIP move to Bringhurst, we will not attend MIP. If Alaveda end up half empty or even closed down, we will go to private school. Azaveda is centrally located in Fremont, in a quiet neighborhood. With both parents working, we can reasonably manage the transportation. I look at Warm Spring area and didn't like it. Bringhurst is too far, and the housing in that area is not family friendly. So to attract a family to MIP, please keep it in multiple locations and accessible to families. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is.
You have to keep your mask on.
I'll put my mask on. Okay. Hi, my name is Kate Wu. I oppose the unification of MIP at Bringhurst. The proposal before you forces many kids out of MIP. The commute is too long. Many families with both working parents just can't do it. How is it good for a program to lose 27%? How is it good for the kids that can no longer attend the program? Or is your purpose just to increase enrollment at Bringhurst at all costs? The vote is in. 55% of parents opposes unification. Like everyone else, I work hard with my son to learn Mandarin. Parents like me are valuable to the program. Please do not ignore or ridicule our vote. Trustee Sweeney told us in January to drop out if we don't want to go. Please do not force me to make that choice. Please reject the task force proposals. Don't lose MIP families.
Thank
Keep
you.
MIP at multiple locations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on up, please. Good evening, every board member and everybody. My name is Yunan Wang, an operator of Blue Sky After School Program. Blue Sky have access Mandarin parents in Fremont for over 10 years. We have helped especially families with two work sponsors, those with low income. English family rely on our help with homework. Upgrade students come to us for help with testing into the program. So we have been a very important part of the Mandarin program success. So this is devastating for our business since 95% of the kids in Blue Sky are from MIP of Azveda. So if MIP move away, that means I will be ending my school. So I beg you, please keep MIP in Azvedas. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dennis, and I have two kids right now currently under the MIP program. So first of all, I try to remind everyone, 55% of parents vote against the unification, all right? And parents is the key to support the entire program. So parents' voice does matter. Please do not ignore the survey we have done. And besides, all the discussion suggestions trying to explain the growing of the headcounts. What about the quality? The MIP have the good reputation because there are thousands of the student, family, and with the teacher from the Azaveda. They, for the past 10 years, that's the true value of the MIP, not the size, okay? And also 27% of families say they have to drop the program if they move to Bringhurst. And another 29% say they don't even know yet. How ironic, like the people want to unify the campus, but it's actually tearing the current MIP apart. So I'm here sincerely to ask the board member.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Felix Lechner. 18 months ago, I begged you for a survey. Now the results are in. My detractors say the result is fake. Last time they designed the survey, this time too. This one was actually mailed out twice after they tweaked it a little. My side, the majority I'll note, was excluded from the task force. It's time to recognize the truth. Most Mandarin parents do not wish to unify. We also do not want Bringhurst. Please embrace reality and leave the Mandarin program at Azaveda. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Danny Cao, Wenbin Zhang, Crystal Tian, Sam Xiao, Yan, Kenny Duong, and Lily. Come on up, sir.
Good evening. My name is Wenbin. I'm a parent of a prospective kindergarten student for the Mandarin Immersion program. After careful consideration and analysis of the possible location of the program next year, my family will follow a few of our friends to enroll in the Mandarin Immersion program at New Haven Unified School District instead, if the program does in fact get placed in Lila Bringhurst. Being a resident of Fremont, and as much as I I want to stay with the FUSD. We simply cannot do the commute every day. While I'm grateful for the recent expansion of the program, with all the strengths being placed together, I also question the lack of diversity my children will experience, and also the lack of empathy the district seems to have to children, in even considering suddenly disrupting their lives to make them adjust to a completely new environment. I'm here today to ask the board to reject both options proposed by them.
Thank you.
So we can serve a broader audience.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Crystal. I'm here to speak out against unification of MIP. I understand the purpose of unification is for teachers to collaborate better and the chance to pull resources together, but have the board stop to think for a second that in order for them to accomplish this, you are sacrificing the overall well-being of the children, the very people this education system is supposed to benefit and serve. The several times that I brought up the idea of unification and changing school to my daughter, she always came back with many questions along with a concerned and depressed look on her face. Moreover, the latest MIP parent survey point out that if the program does move to Bringhurst, at least 27% of the family mentioned they would withdraw from the program. So if MIP does move, my daughter will lose her friends from the English-only classes, but also many of her MIP friends as well, once they drop out. To the board of the trustee, when it comes time to work on the future of the MIP, I want you to keep on one
Thank
thing.
you.
How will this affect the kids
you.
already in the program? Thank you.
Go ahead. Hello, everybody. My name's Yan. I oppose the move of MIP to Bringhurst. Bringhurst is only 4 miles away from the trash processing site, and the constant smell of trash will severely impact my child's overall well-being. I dropped my kids out from Stratford Outskirts to MIP for similar reason. There's a rock factory beside the campus, so they have air issue. Also, our child's best friend has already confirmed that their family will withdraw from MIP if the program moves to Bringhurst. In order to maintain the social well-being of my child from an already emotional past 2 years, our family will choose to also withdraw and attend a local private school instead if MIP ends up in Bringhurst. So please keep MIP in multiple locations to serve the whole of Fremont. Let parents decide which location is the best for their children, thus minimize the disruption to families created by the change. If MIP move to Bringhurst,
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sam. I'm the MIP parent and a second grader student. My child just got tested and accepted to the MIP last September. I came here to speak about a position to disagree with the unification. The primary reason is this decision is affecting and ignoring the lower grade student and family. The decision was made before they arrived, and they're the one that accepted, and they're the one that stay for the next 6 years. I'd like to point out, same with the other folks, that 55% of the parents do not want to move from the survey results. If the survey was not accurate or has all raw data, I would like to ask who should be responsible and accountable for these failures if it's not executed well. And why would the parents and the students need to, especially the little kid from kindergarten, have to bear the responsibility of this poorly executed survey? Are we throwing away all the data entirely to put more stress on the innocent families and the children, affecting 400 families? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kenny, and I have 2 kids at the Azaveda Mandarin Immersion program. And I'm here to talk to the boards and to take a serious consideration of keeping the current MIP at the current place. The reason why is because of the equity. Equality is sharing things that's working and it's not limiting access to it. So having the school at Bringhurst or at Blakeout would definitely limit access to the people in the northern part of Fremont. I live in the Ardenwood area, and going there, it takes me 20 minutes, but the thing's it's going to take me 2 hours just to go there. And then I know a lot of people that's that's considering going to the Union City because of the proximity of the program, and also because the thing's if things is working, then we should keep keep it at the multiple locations to keep the diversity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dear board members, my name is Yang. I'm a dad of two, one second grader in Azaveda MIP, and the other will be in kindergarten this coming fall, hoping to get into MIP as well. Like all parents in the program, I love it, and we appreciate all the support that has made it flourish. While I understand the benefits behind unifying MIP at either Blackout or Lila Brinkhurst, I'm deeply concerned about its negative effects. The biggest concern for me is the isolation of our kids from non-MIP students. We really would like our kids to continue to be in a multicultural environment at school while enjoying the unique curriculum that the program has offered. Also, MIP needs to be immersive geographically in order for it to expand. Asian families, nearly 50%, reside evenly across the entire Fremont. According to a survey, this unification may force many families, more than 50% actually, to drop out of the program for various reasons: traffic, school, location, etc., etc. Therefore, I would like to sincerely ask the board members to consider rejecting the proposal of unifying MIP. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yang Lin, Brennan Dorsey, Jacqueline Thing, Karen Chu.
Good evening, members. I'm Jacqueline, and I have a child at Blacko strand of MIP, and I support the unification of MIP at Brinkhurst. With the expansion of the MIP program and the gradual recruitment of more teachers, it's even more important now for the program to be consolidated, to provide for support for incoming staff members, and to provide a cohesive staff developmental program to allow current staff members to also grow. Teachers are key drivers to the success of the MIP program, and consolidating to a single site will enable and facilitate the sharing of resources, experience, and provide learning opportunities which will help to induct the new teachers to allow them to deliver the program confidently. It also allows experienced teachers to grow with fresh ideas and inputs from these new teachers, and the school management team can also put in place a whole school staff development program that can help improve the general competency of the staff members. This is an important area which we cannot ignore. So I'd like to propose for the support of MIP at Brinkhurst.
Thank you.
Hi, can I start? Hi, my name is Karen. I have two children in the Mandarin Immersion program. They're in 3rd grade and kindergarten. I support unification for the Mandarin Immersion program for 3 reasons. Number 1, our teachers prefer it. Our 1st grade teacher, Ms. Fang, was in the task force, and she clearly stated that the teachers' majority prefer to stay in the same program for collaboration. Number 2, it saves the district money. Isn't it better to buy only 1 set of library books than to have to buy 2 separate identical sets of Chinese library books? Number 3, we are stronger together. Most parents, if you really ask, why did you choose MIP in the beginning? People will tell you, I want my kids to learn Chinese, I want to learn one more culture, I really like the parents' active community, I really like the teachers, or I really like the kids' test scores. Whatever it is, most people do not say, I really prefer that one location. We have to stay competitive given that there are increasing number of Mandarin immersion programs in the surrounding neighborhoods. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And just President Dorsey has 5 minutes because she's the head of our bargaining unit.
Good evening, Brandon Dorsey, President of the Fremont Unified District Teachers Association. I was asked by the Blacko teachers to come here tonight to speak on their behalf, and I have a letter that they have written in support. I believe you should have received letters from the teachers at Grimmer and Vallejo Mill from the SDI program as well. I believe they are all in support of unification at Blacko. That's what I have to say on that point. As a veteran educator of 22 years and someone who holds multiple degrees in higher education, I have to say that as a practitioner, you can't do it alone. You don't grow as an educator if you don't have a teaching partner at your grade level to collaborate with on a daily basis. And I will tell you, last year when teachers were teaching on Zoom, especially those first year teachers, it was so hard. And when you're in a silo by yourself, all you have are walls and echoes. When you have someone else to bounce off ideas with, that's when greatness happens. And who benefits? The students. The students benefit from that, and the program becomes richer and more exciting and better, and more people want to come. So without being in the program, having a child in the program, but as a practitioner with lots of experience, I know that because that's my life, and I live it, and I've seen it, and I've experienced it. And I believe that's what the teachers are asking for, and I believe that's what many of the parents want their children to experience, a rich program that is going to be dynamic and grow and not stay stagnant in a silo. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Dorsey.
Chung Wu. Chung Wu.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, great. We have two kids in the Mandarin Immersion program, and we're concerned about moving it to Bringhurst at such a abbreviated timeline. Bringhurst is far. Almost 80% of recent survey respondents live north of the Grimmer Mission District. For these families, the move will mean up to an hour of extra commute time per day, leading to less sleep, less after-school activities, and less quality time for their kids. No doubt many dedicated families will do what they can to make it work, but many can't for financial or work reasons. Unifying at Bringhurst means excluding these families, and we don't believe that makes the program stronger. More families from more diverse backgrounds will make the program stronger. We ask the board to slow down and explore other options that ensure equitable access to the program while allowing for growth. And if the move is inevitable, we ask for more time to ensure after-school care is available at the new site and to give current families a chance to adjust and cope. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
Okay, and Ms. Sandoval, I'm doing a time check. I know we came back to open session late.
8:50.
Are we
Yes,
due
we
for
are.
it? Okay.
Mhm.
We're going to take a break and recess for 10 minutes. We'll be back at 9:05.
Is there any other name that I did not call for you to come up and speak? If you want to come and see me, please.
Okay, I think we're about ready to get started. Okay, so welcome back. I believe we have two more speakers. Ms. Sandoval.
Matthew Stowell and Lily.
Madam President, members of the board, I'm here to speak in support of unification of the Spanish Immersion program. A lot has been said here tonight, and so I can't add too much more. I would say that it appears to me that one thing that we should all keep in mind is the future of the program, because there's obviously going to be people who are impacted negatively and positively by any decision. But for the betterment of the program, the growth of it, and expansion, I think there's only one choice that can be made, and that's unification. Unification option A, where the program can grow. And I also, talking to my daughters, my 3 daughters who are in the program, they love their friends in the program. And it would be great to have a school with so many more kids that they can network with and play with and develop friendships within this unique educational environment. So I strongly encourage you for the first option to unify both programs at schools that can grow.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lily. Yeah, she happened.
My name is Lily, and I oppose moving MIP to Lila Bringhurst. I have toured the school with my child many times. There isn't enough outdoor play area inside the school for kids. The stairs in the buildings make my child very uncomfortable, and she has no warm feelings about these new buildings. The area around Lila Bringhurst is dense and urban. It is not at all green and serene like the setting around Azaveda or Blakeout. Lila Bringhurst is in the redeveloped industrial area next to the Tesla factory, which uses hazardous materials. A fire just occurred at Tesla last week. The traffic around Lila Bringhurst will be terrible when hundreds of families all go there on the narrow streets to drop off kids. This will make the daily travel even longer. The young kids might have to walk through the city park themselves. Please do not move MIP to Bringhurst. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Sandoval, is that all the public comment?
Yes,
okay.
that concludes public comment.
So before we move to board discussion, I just want to thank everybody who has come tonight or tuned in to provide public comment either in person or remotely, and to all the parents and family members and community members and teachers who emailed and submitted public comment. It's really important that we have all the input that we need in order to make well-informed decisions. So thank you all for being here and providing that input. So I'm going to bring it back to the board. Does anybody have questions or comments that they'd like to make tonight? Yes, Trustee Sweeney.
Thank you very much, President Jones. These programs have been a long time coming to get to this point. I'll spend less than a minute with a very brief history. SDI was here before I came on the board and was a very robust program and was having some challenges. And about 10 years ago, it actually came to the board to possibly look at disbanding it. And the board, as a point of pride, voted unanimously to keep the program going and do everything we could to support it and let it grow. About that same time, the MIP program first came to the board to be considered. And that was probably the most divisive board meeting I had ever seen, as 2 board members did not want the program to even come up for a vote to start. So it did get a start, as it obviously, as you see here. And both programs have grown. So the question before us is, how do we continue that growth? What is the best course for growth? And what we've seen in the last couple of years is all the restrictions on growth that put us into wait lists, put us into anxiety, put us into infighting over selections of who gets to go to the program and whatnot. And that's problematic because we can keep kicking the can down the road, but we have to make a decision on what we want to do. And the 2 options pretty clear are, do we want to allow the 2 programs to grow with uncapped enrollment for the foreseeable future, especially if full-day kindergarten is coming to play, or do we want to restrict them? That's what it comes down to. A few years ago, this board had the opportunity to take a surplus school, which was then known as Marshall, and dedicate that to the Spanish Immersion program, the SDI program. And that was going to the Carmen Melendez School. And that was one of the most proud moments, I think, for any of the board members who are here, was we were able to take a school and dedicate it with the intention of growing the SDI program in one space. And everybody loved that idea. Unfortunately, within a few months, we found out that for environmental and hazardous reasons, we could not put any students on that site. So we're back to square one. So as we see in the last couple years especially, with the MIP program trying to grow and have to go to 2 different sites, and the SDI program being at 3 sites, and all the teachers on both programs saying it would be better if we could put everyone together, because that's been the goal all along, and it will be the goal in the future if we don't do it. I don't think the board has much of a choice other than to support option A, simply because it will allow both programs to grow without caps, without worrying about enrollment restrictions, probably really small, if any, wait lists. And I would like to clarify that for some of the people who are saying that Bringhurst might not have any other people there besides MIP programs, I believe there's at least, I'm going to say 166, I might be off on numbers, of the kids who are in the local attendance area who will be attending that. I will also say that there have been remarks that have been attributed to me that I have not only not ever said, I've never even thought. So as we go forward, and I think there's plenty of room for all of us to learn here, we have options that I think will serve the community well, and we can still grow because we do have issues with a commute. Let's look at the MIP program. How can we lessen that? How can we mitigate that? And I think we have some ideas, and we can entertain those. I don't want to take all the board's time, but I want to share that from the very, very beginning, since I've been on the board, I've always been supportive of the dual immersion programs, and I've always been a champion when their backs have been against the wall to keep them going, to give them every chance to grow. We are at that crossroads again. For those of you who watched the recent Monday night Joint City Council School Board meeting, you heard that over the next 10 years, the City Council will approve 13,000 more housing units for Fremont. And they say if they don't approve it, the state will come in and approve it. So we know that this growth is coming, and we have to be able to plan for it. And one of the best ways to plan for it right now is to put these 2 programs into situations that they'll be able to grow, that they'll be able to thrive, that the parents will be able to come together and be strong advocates for the program. And the bottom line is that the students will have a better educational experience if they're unified.
Thank you, Trustee Sweeney. Is there Trustee Campbell?
I just wanted to say that I have been part of the dual immersion program for as long as I've been on the board as well. And it has always been the goal of the program to unify. There was a strong community outcry for unification. This is probably our 2nd or 3rd time bringing this to the board about unification. I think this time we have done our due diligence in really looking at all of the options that were available to us. We had the short-term plan of expanding the MIP program to allow for more students to come. I agree with teachers and I understand that Warm Springs is kind of far if you live way on the other side of Fremont, and we would hate to lose parents because we would want to unify it into a space that we know that it will be able to grow. Full-day kindergarten will be able to allow for a neighborhood. They're still building and expanding in that area, so the neighborhood kids would still be able to come to that school, so you would have your English only and your Spanish and your Mandarin. I think that's a rich program. So I would agree with, he won't believe it, Trustee Sweeney, that option A would be a good course for this program. I do have a question about Blake Howell enrollment. If all of the students that you say we have there now, and you would bring them from Vallejo Mill, you bring about give or take 123 from Grimmer, and you would bring in another 119 from Vallejo Mill. That would give you approximately 242 more students, assuming that everybody comes, and you already have a total enrollment of 479. So that would give you approximately, give or take, assuming that all of the students and their families continued to come to Blake Howe, approximately 721 students. My question is, will Blake Howe be able to accommodate that many students?
So you made me do math very quickly as you spoke.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I'm done. I'm ready to go. So the one thing I would add is that we would need to take out the Mandarin immersion students that are currently at Blake Howe, which is 77 students. So the total enrollment, if we say all SDI students, including neighborhood students, would be 644.
Okay. Is that a reasonable number to accommodate for that school, given that right now it's 479?
Yes. When I look at our attendance, our enrollment, the max capacity is 872.
Oh, okay. Cool. Okay. And then the same kind of mathematical calculation I was making quickly in my head as well is for Bringhurst. If everyone goes, it would be approximately 420 students? Correct. So that would mean, but I don't know what and then it would be the 166 plus the 420?
586.
586, and that's plenty, because I know that school is built out to 1,100. Okay, thank you very much.
Trustee Zhang.
So first, I want to thank staff and thank the community's enthusiasm to come, forward to speak your mind. And I think that's the enthusiasm and involvement which make our school district great. And so I think that in the perfect world, in my opinion, I would like to keep, I'm thinking out of the box, to keep Las Vegas MIP as is, and then move some of the, listen to me out, then move some of the families to Lilac-Hurst. But with coming, we are going to have, no, hear me out, let me finish. But my thinking is we are also going to have a full day, a kindergarten program coming up. So then when we have this program in place, and then it's going to possibly reach the capacity of Las Vegas. So then Las Vegas is going to move again, you see. So that's why, when I think about this with the long-term picture, I want to support both of the families, because when you stay in the place, you don't want to move, because it's kind of disruption. I understand that. But with the long-term growth of our school, I think that to move to a unified district location is the best choice. But we're going to do our best to see how we're going to do the transportation and how we're going to do the best, a way to accommodate the traffic jam in the area. And I also think. I look at the data. Most of the parents attending MIP is within the Las Vegas area. So when we move to this area, I do believe there were more family from the southern part, which is going to, grow again. So it's just we do the best we can. I hope that the family who is already attending the program understand we are good for the well-being of all the school district parents and students. Thank you.
Trustee Prasad.
So again, thanks for the presentation and for the task force that actually provided the feedback. As I was creating my own rubric as to how to evaluate this decision, the first number one priority for me would be to see how does it enhance learning for students. And we have heard some qualitative things from you and even from President Brannon. that the teachers feel that it'll be better. And then enhancing curriculum, how does it enhance curriculum? So is a collaboration between the teachers the primary value that will enhance curriculum here?
It would be collaboration, looking at being a data-driven school culture where you're looking at student data and being able to respond in real time and provide differentiated instruction. So there's so many possibilities with that collaboration piece that would enhance the curriculum.
Okay. And then some community members said that the library is fragmented today, and perhaps the library can be consolidated and be richer.
Yes, so
Okay.
we're already looking at that possibility. Yes.
Now the third thing, and it is important to me, is to minimize disruption for current families there. So what can we do to minimize that? I can understand going from Azaveda to Bringhurst, it can take 30 minutes in the morning, right? And so that is an issue. So what can be done about that? So we should look at it.
Yes, and that's certainly, I think, a big consideration across our whole district. I know that we already have a selected principal for Lila Bringhurst, and one of the charges of our principals working with her school community onto her schedule. So it will be important to look at what the bell schedule looks like for that school. We had heard some of the questions around after school care and what possibility there is. That site would have some space for some after school care. That may also be a possibility. I would leave it to our principal to start to work with her school community once we start to get the pieces in place. And that would, I think, give some stability as well to the families. That would be one of our next steps after the board decision.
Okay, so when this comes to us for a decision, I'd like to see more about how we are going to address. Commute is one thing, and then for people that may be working back there, with both parents working, providing care before school and after school could be a way to mitigate the problem, right? So to me, that's a big consideration in my decision making. And then number 4, I see that this program seems to be somewhat in surviving mode, right? Because it is limited by capacity. We are putting kids in a wait list, and there are very few seats available, right? And there's no room to expand at Azaveda. So to go from surviving to thriving is what I see as a value of consolidating in one place. So what are the plans to actually grow it over there? And what have we quantified? Will it attract more kids? What added value will that new location provide to the community?
I think we heard from some of the speakers this evening, but certainly with immersion programs, as you heard, the parent component is vital to immersion, as is the teacher piece. Some of the immediate recommendations and questions and information we heard from families and teachers was the recruitment aspect. So, a big thank you to our parents who really have done a great job in that area. But I think it's also how do we support our if it is at Lila, the new principal to really start to optimize and publicize that the program is at Lila. That's going to be a big selling point, I think, for growing the program. The other aspect as it relates to the Spanish immersion program is that for the first time, if they're unified, we will have more than one class at every grade level. So that immediately will be just so powerful for not just teacher collaboration, but dual immersion is enriched education. And with enriched education, our teachers are always teaching the second language learners in the classroom. If they're teaching in Spanish, they're teaching to the English only kiddos. If they're teaching in English, to the Spanish primary language speakers. So it's about publicizing the beauty and the richness to really create these global students. And so that piece, I think, is something that as a district we can definitely improve on as it relates to growing the Spanish immersion program as well. And really, those are some next steps for us as a district. So I think it's very powerful to leave a lot of that promotion and growth and unity at the school site. So I've created a few programs in my past career, and where you really see it grow and move is that when it's centralized at the principal level, with the parents as partners, and with our teachers as partners. But then certainly district support to grow it. So there will be some next steps after this, absolutely. And we heard that also from our task force members that wanted to make sure, like something like, for example, I think it was Ms. Camacho who had said, is there a way to communicate? Like there's a way to unify all of the Spanish immersion families that for the first time are going to have to get to know each other. So there certainly is going to have to be mixers. There's going to have to be family picnics at the beginning of the year. Of course, in this COVID world, we'll have to see what those guidelines are, but it's going to be just a wonderful kind of reopening of a school and bringing in the English only students as well, because we heard from our families that spoke tonight that our kids need to be able to have this multicultural setting, right? And it's also about how do you support our English only students who are part of a school community that has immersion within it. So there will be a lot of next steps. A lot of it is just the good work that principals and schools do ordinarily, but then how do we do, kind of like a grand opening? How do we do a kickoff to really bring all the families together? That's going to be the next work that comes in the coming months. But these first steps will be able to give us that direction as well.
So I'll send you these 4 things, and maybe for the next time, I'd like to get more qualitative feedback on each one. But then the final question from my side is, when you look at unification, unification also creates a bounded box that you can grow up to, right? So this, as a rich program that we have, projecting 10 years, do you see this going back out again and be much bigger than what one campus can hold?
So, the immersion program is an FUSD program. And so just as we do with our transitional kinder programs, our special education programs, our science magnet, there is that possibility. But what I'm hearing from the board is the commitment to really trying to look at, based on our projections, based on our capacity reports, knowing that full day kinder is there's a possibility in the future. What can we say now in this moment in time? So we feel confident that it can certainly thrive there at these settings. There are some districts who sometimes will grow a school to the full capacity and make it an immersion school. I don't think I've heard that from the board in the past, but that may be a possibility in the next 5 to 8 years that you look at that. I mean, there's so many things that are out there, but I think that will also need more data, more capacity reports, and really the direction and the board goals as it relates to immersion and language programs. But, or I should say, wonderfully, with the strand within these schools, what it's going to do is have enough ability to grow and to expand and really attract more students to these schools. So we're good for now, but certainly I think as a board, it will be something for you all to look at and give us direction in the coming years as to what are we looking at district-wide in terms of language programs.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to take the opportunity to thank staff and the task force for the hard work that you all did. This has been years coming. And I know we've heard from many families who are going to be impacted by this decision, and I don't want to take lightly that there will be some families who feel like they can't continue if we unify, and some families where the commute will be a hindrance. And changing schools is not easy for students, but I think as we look at the programs overall, the importance of being able to grow the programs is a primary consideration we have, and the importance programmatically of having the consolidation and allowing for collaboration with teachers and for the parent communities to be really cohesive. It's really important that we move ahead with unification. I would like for us to, I know, I've been through budget cuts where we have cut bus service, so I know what the financial impacts of that are. But I don't want us to say just off the top of our heads that we can't provide bus service. I would like for us to look at that and make an informed decision with some data. What would it look like to be able to provide some transportation? And then be able to say, based on this data, based on the cost, based on staffing, we either can or can't do it. I want the data, if we can get it, to make a decision about helping to provide transportation, and knowing that, you know, we may see the data and have it confirmed that that's really a no-go, but I don't just want to make a rash decision that we can't do it. I'd like to see some data about how we can support families who are facing legitimate transportation issues, because I know that can impact both programs. We've heard from families where that could be the case. So I'd just like us to take a look at that option and know what it would mean, so that we can decide to do it or not. Yes, Trustee Zhang.
I have a further question. So I think the MIP program at Blakely is concerned about the resource, lack of a resource. So what is the good number to make a program robust? So right now at MIP at Blakely, there is 77 students. So what number it would be a good number so that we can actually beef up with some teachers? I'm still thinking about my idea as have one at Las Vegas and one at Bringhurst, because then you can not disrupt them for the time being, and then you can grow this one at this site if we cannot provide transportation. So, and then we can really grow and then attract what's called enrollment. That's my thought. So is that we are lack of a resource of teachers? And can we look into that? And so let's see, next year, can we also advertise to see how many new families are going to enroll, let's see, at Lilac-Hurst, I don't know how we do the data.
So a couple of things. We do need board action to be able to then advertise where the location will be. Certainly, people can apply for the program, but that gives parents the full picture as to where will be the program. And so it's kind of like the chicken or the egg. So we would like to be able to present to families where the program will be so that we can then see what the enrollment will be like. So that would be one thing. In terms of the 77 students, when we look at the Mandarin Immersion program, the expansion is there. There are parents on waiting lists. There is a need, and already, as we heard, 10 years, just a lot of rich work there. So where our hands were tied in the sense where we were looking for a short-term solution. And so the short-term solution so that we can get folks off of the waiting list was Blakely. And so I'm not sure what
is the question you're asking more about, and correct me if I'm wrong, to reach a robust program at a school site? Would it really mean being able to have at least 2 classes per grade level so that you have a grade level teacher? So is that?
What I can say is that currently at Blakely, we do have 2 teachers per grade level. So it's, as a reminder, it was an expansion for students who were at the primary level. So next year, say if we were still to continue at Blakely, those first and kindergarten first graders would then move up. So then we would have a K, a first, and a second. So as each year progresses, we would have more, we would expand the grade levels. It's just when the board did take action on that, it was to expand for that particular year. So we do have 2 classes currently, and we do have the resources. I just want to clarify that as well. What the Mandarin Immersion teachers and students have at Azaveda, they also have at Blakely.
I do want to ask, so let's see how quickly can we get this full-time kindergarten program in place? And if we do have that, will that impact the capacity at Azveda's? That's a question. I want you guys to the staff to do some research.
We can, and the preliminary research does show that there will be issues at Azaveda with a full-day kinder program comes into play. So we will, the location will, because it's, I always hear the term landlocked.
Landlocked, yes.
There won't be enough space there for the full-day kinder. We can certainly look at what that looks like, but that was one of the other concerns about Azaveda, as we're starting to explore the possibility of full-day kinder.
And Superintendent Kamick, did you have comments?
No, I was just going to, well, I had one comment, and that is related to the request for information for full-day kindergarten. There will be a point in time in the future when that discussion comes forward for the board, for public consideration, for the board's formal consideration, and those who may be listening or watching are wondering what's the status of full-day kindergarten in Fremont Unified. There hasn't been a change to move in that direction, but we recognize that it has been a point of conversation amongst many circles and in the boardroom before. But I do want to clarify that there hasn't been formal action for that. But there is a recognition that it is something to be considered. In addition, I would like to clarify for those who may be wondering, it is something that has come up year over year in budget development at the state level. And so if Fremont doesn't make an adjustment at some point in the future, it may come down from the state level. And so I just wanted to give some context for the discussion for full-day kindergarten and why it's part of what we're looking at in the future. And I will have one other just closing thing to make sure I'm getting all the direction from the trustees when we get done with board conversation.
Yes, Trustee Campbell.
Yeah, I just have one other thing that we didn't add to the conversation, and that is when I begin to look at the numbers again, I noticed that at Grimmer, if we're moving off those 123 students, we'll have an enrollment of less than 300, 279 approximately, assuming that they all come off. Well, they all will. And so that begs the question of what does the board see as a adequate size of a school enrollment?
Yeah, I think that's definitely an important conversation. It's a different conversation.
Yeah.
I think that, we're going to have to look at, without getting too much into this, we're going to have to look at our enrollment projections and what is happening at each school site and make some tough decisions in the coming year. Definitely in the coming years, but probably sooner rather than later about what to do with that.
Right.
But that's an important but separate
Yeah,
conversation.
So, Ms. Salinas and Dr. Rocha, that's going to be an important consideration as we make the vote next board meeting. So is it possible to give us a projection of enrollment for Grimmer? That would be helpful.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so I know this isn't for vote tonight, and we'll have another opportunity to ask written Q&A and more questions when this comes to us at the next meeting. Is there anything else tonight? We're good? Yes, Superintendent Kamick.
Thank you, President Jones. For staff's sake, I just want to recap what the requests have been and what we're bringing forward at the next agenda item. So what I have heard thus far is that we'll be returning with this agenda item, recognizing the recommendations presented by the task force as heard tonight, option A, option B. And in addition, there have been requests for some more qualitative data related to before and after school programs, and Trustee Prasad will send that information to staff. Requests for information regarding transportation implications, and requests for information about the size of Grimmer, and will of course include other schools involved in the discussion process for the overall enrollment impacts. And as we look at the future of a school with the immersion programs coming off, including the potential outcomes for other program growth, other things that can happen within the district to support that school or other considerations. Does that encompass the requests from trustees so we can?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you again to everybody who came tonight to provide us with needed input and perspective. All right, we're going to move on. We're going to go back to our agenda and go back to item 15.1, which is the school reopening updates.
It's already